treat each other with kindness, do better, and take those little opportunities that life presents to you to help someone. Don't just look past that because you never know where someone is coming from or what they're going through.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Yo, man. Boom, it's Rusty. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Public Access Podcast, the podcast here on the Rusty Diamond Podcast Network. I'm your host, Rusty Diamond. You can find me at rustydiamond.net, hypnosisisgreat.com, popuphealing.net. And today is episode, I think, 614, somewhere around there. I don't know. Let's say 614. Yeah, 614. And so today is December 2nd. Nope, it's 615. 614 was ice. So this is 615. So thank you everybody for being here. And yes, December 2nd, 2024. I'll say things like 4 or 5 times in a row here, I guess. But thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's time for me to bring on my special guest. My special guest is right here and right now. And my special guest is CJ Plain. What's the weirdest question you've ever been asked that you want to talk, that you want to say here? And I'll probably
Um,
start it with that.
I don't know if it's the weirdest question I've been asked. I can tell you the dumbest, funniest question, the situation that it led to. Um, in the summer of 1990, I was working at Cedar Point with one of my
What?
best friends,
So is that in Cedar Point? Is that
Sandusky, Ohio, the big
okay?
amusement park,
And that's the one with the big fucking
bunch of
roller
them.
coaster that began to step by step. Is that
It's got the Millennium, it's got the Millennium one. It's got like 3 or 4 of the biggest, tallest coasters in the world. The newest one is the um I can't think of the name of it. It's like the drag racing one, and it went straight out and went up and down around. But then they had another one called the Twisted Force that was kind of behind it, and then they closed it down and they connected the two. So now it shoots you backwards up this twist, and then it brings you back down and shoots you forward up the big 450-foot here over the hump and back down, and you go like 120 miles an hour or something through these linear magnets. Um,
holy shit?
so um, I
Okay,
can't even think
so
of the name of it. But anyways,
but
I was
you were
working there.
working there in 1990.
We were working there. My friend Bryce, I was a blue tag. There's red
What's
tags and
that
blue
mean?
tags. So red tag is just your normal people that work. Blue tags are the managers, the people in charge. We were working at right across from the main arcade on the main strip, and lines out, just crazy lines. And these 2 girls come to the window. Bryce was working the register, and they were asking every dumb question you can imagine. What does this have? What does this have? At one point, they asked him, "Does your beer have alcohol in it?" Bryce, being the eternal smartass, said, "No, our beer's not made with alcohol. It's made with ethanol." They're fucking, oblivious. Oh, okay. And they don't even realize Bryce is fucking with them. So finally, we get to the end, and the girl, now, mind you, behind Bryce is this giant board with everything we have, pretty much lists all the ingredients. It's 20 foot long and 10 foot high, just board with all the everything we sell. She looks Bryce dead in his face and she says to him, "Well, what comes on a cheese pizza?" Bryce just looks at me and I look at Bryce, and I knew from that look on his face, like, oh shit. And he turns and he faces this girl and he's like, "Give me $20 and I will." And she said, "What?" And Bryce is like, "What?" And I was like, oh shit. And she finally, it clicked in her brain what he said. She's like, I want to see a manager. And I'm standing in the doorway like,
Nice.
of course you do. And
Yeah.
I just happened to be the fucking manager standing in sight. So of course I had to listen to her bitch and complain. He insulted me and he made a sexually suggestive comment. And I'm like, well, in all fairness, you have been standing here for 15 minutes asking every dumb question, not even realizing this man has been insulting you for 15 minutes. She's like, well, he
Right.
hasn't insulted me. Ma'am, you asked if her beer had alcohol in it, and he told you it was made with ethanol. Well, what's wrong with that? Ethanol is what you put in a car. It's corn fuel, E85. And she just kind of looks at me, and I'm like, never mind. Oh, what do you want me to do? Do you want a free pizza? Do you want a free burger? Like, how do we fix this situation?
Yeah.
Well, I want his boss. Oh, of course you do. So of course I had to go call my manager and she came and she threw a total fit. Everyone got fired. So that was our last day working at Cedar Point, but it was just one of those situations where, we got back to the room and we were packing and I just looked at Bryce and I was like, did you really have to say that, bro? Like, and he's like, dude, she deserved that shit. And I was like, yeah, but come on, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we were 18 at the time, 19. It's not like we cared, but it was just the
Right.
point of, and um Bryce is just that way. Like he's one of them guys you can't take anywhere. Like I love him to death, one of my best friends, but you know, definitely not the one, you know. He, you always hear the joke about who's the one friend you can't put on speakerphone.
Yeah.
That's Bryce.
That's the one.
I never ever put Bryce on speakerphone because he's going to say something completely inappropriate. Um,
I'm
so
that friend.
yeah, like I can be, but
Maybe to
it just
someone
depends
else.
on, you know, do what?
Yeah. Maybe to someone else, you are that friend.
I mean, yeah, like it depends on who I'm talking to. Um, if I'm talking to my friend Planky, then yeah, I'm definitely that friend because, you know, Planky's pretty vanilla, and
Probably
he's
both.
pretty middle of the road. So, um, yeah, I'm normally that one if I'm hanging out with Planky, but um, conversations with Planky pretty much revolve around Dream Theater and prog music. So, um, you
Okay.
know, um, he's he's like my Dream Theater fanatic friend. So, you know,
So that when with Dream Theater, what's going on there? Like what do you end up talking about with about Dream Theater? Are you going about every detail or are you
I
more
mean,
invested in certain parts?
we talk about the music itself. We talk about, the comparisons to other bands. I've I had never saw Dream Theater in concert before I became friends with Planky, and since then I've gone to I think five Dream Theater concerts. Um,
Whoa.
so I'm normally the first person if they come to Detroit, if they come to anywhere in Michigan, Northern Ohio, whatever. Planky will call me and say, "Hey, you want to go see Dream Theater?" And I'll go just so that he has somebody to go with because I'm really kind of the only one that, doesn't have a life.
Hey,
And
that's a good
yeah,
good part there, man.
um,
That's the you got to go do that
yeah.
stuff because you
I mean, I
can.
can't complain because last year when we went, Devin Townsend was the opening act, and I've literally waited 30 years to see Devin perform live.
It's like,
So
oh, here's the opening act.
yeah, like I was all in on that one. Um,
So what
because
happened during the actual show? Were you still there or did you blow
oh
all
yeah.
your energy
No,
on
it
the
was
opener?
I actually had Animals as leaders as the first band. Um, and then it had Devin Townsend and then it had Dream Theater and it was an amazing show. I mean, Devin is everything I thought he was going to be and more.
Oh shit.
Dream Theater put
Okay.
on their amazing show. I mean, if you've never been to a Dream Theater show, it's not just the music. They have these giant screens where they have a whole animated movie that plays in the background that kind of goes with the music. So you sort of get this anime movie that
Oh shit. Okay.
it's kind of like The Wall, like they have their own sort
Yeah.
of version where they have this big, 30-foot screen that the animations in the background play in directly to the songs and the stories and all of that. And the guitar player, it creates all of that. Um, he's an animator when he's not performing. So,
Cool.
it's
That's a good
really,
way to find those two talents.
yeah, like it's just not the music itself. I mean, you go as much for everything else. I mean, it's a total audio visual experience with Dream Theater. And um I
What's
get
the
it if you're
crowd
not a
like?
prog fan. I mean, it's mostly men. It's prog metal. So, I
Yeah.
mean, essentially it's a big sausage fest for the most part, but hey, it
That's
is what it is.
fucking is who is for, like
Yeah, I
that's
mean
fucking,
yeah, I
you
mean
know,
they're experts at drawing the crowd that listens to that music. And
yep.
I
That's
mean,
who fucking goes for it, man. That's
yeah.
cool. And
And
so
we've,
what do you
you know,
do? What do you do at a concert? What are you up are you dancing on stage trying to
you
grab
know,
anyone in the band? Are you in the middle
it
dancing? Are
depends.
you in the back fucking with
It
your
depends on the show itself. I've been on the stage as a musician, so I've never been the fan that jumped on stage just
that's
because
good.
I understand as a musician that that's sort of holy ground and that's your space. And sometimes fans will get up there and they just want a hug, or they just that it's not a bad thing.
Dangerous.
But
It's
then you
not
get those fans that they want to grab your instrument. They want to do like with what happened with Dimebag, and you got to
yeah.
be careful of who you allow in that space. It's a reason you have security. It's a reason that there's barriers and barricades and different things. And um, I've been that guy that stood at the very back at the bar as far back as you can get because it was a band who was infamous for having extremely dangerous mosh pits. I've been the guy in the mosh pit. I've been the guy working sound. I've been the guy working lights. I've been the guy that was hired to keep people off the stage. So, um, I've been from
Ew.
front to back and side to side and pretty much everything in between. So, um, you know, I've seen it from all angles, and I've been in some mosh pits that I thought I wasn't going to walk out of. Like, I've been in a couple mosh pits that they were dicey at best, man. Like,
Yeah.
Devil Driver, Malevolent Creation are both bands that um have brutal mosh pits. Um, Crossface, I didn't even attempt to get in their pit. I was at the very back because that pit was just unruly, man. And I was like, I'm too old for that. Like, um, enough energy in that place to power a nuclear plant,
So
like just
have you heard of that before? With so apparently I don't mean to just jump in there, but
no, you're good.
I heard this thing with like Madison Square Garden that like that's something with Madison Square Garden that they do with the energy to, and then you're able to use that as a like a superconductor of sorts with the,
Um,
but I
I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
know. Yeah, who
I've
knows?
I've never been to Madison Square Garden. I mean, I've seen it on TV watching wrestling, obviously, but I've never been in it.
Right.
Um, but it's
Or what about other arenas or
I
other, even
I think it would be pretty hard to harness pure energy that way. Um, I'm not a physicist, so I mean,
me
I don't
neither.
know,
I,
but
I'm a guy
um,
on the internet.
yeah, like I think it'd be pretty hard to do it. But then again, I guess anything is possible. I mean, the whole thing with science is it's constantly changing and new inventions and new ways and you know, I mean, you're talking Tesla coils and all this shit that Tesla had and I mean, maybe it is. I mean, I know there's cities that are experimenting with solar roads now that as you drive on the road, it'll charge your car.
Yeah.
Um,
And they have ones that are like for like a whole bunch of different panels that put together, and then it can
yeah,
harness that energy in the road. And like you said,
that's what
you're
I'm saying.
in
It's so,
Michigan or Northern Ohio, like to be able to melt the ice and snow off the
yeah.
roads.
Well,
Like,
that's what, yeah, they did. Holland, Michigan,
yeah,
has all their streets underneath have, um,
no
it's
shit.
coil technology to where they're essentially water lines is what they are, warm water lines, and they're as they built the roads, they put all these in and they coil up and down the streets and down the roads, and then what they do is they
Whoa,
just essentially run warm water through these coils, and it heats the street and melts the snow and all of that, so that they're not required. They don't have to use salt or anything. Um,
that's fucking cool.
Now it's cool, but of course that comes with a cost of, the city's not going to eat the cost of that. That's going to come back to you in the form of property tax and school taxes and
But
other
then that
things. So
also takes away some of that road tax or maybe
yeah,
diverts those funds, but those would be two, yeah, you're right, two different
I mean
things.
it's awesome that yes, as a resident, you know that your car's not going to get destroyed by road salt, that the roads aren't going to be icy. You hit a much lower likelihood of having an accident, so your insurance is going to be lower, all of that kind of stuff. So, it's again, it's on that scale, it kind
Yeah.
of balances out. And Holland's not a bad town. I mean, it has its problems, but for the most part,
What
it's a
doesn't?
beautiful town and got a lot of activities there and a lot of museums and obviously the history that, a lot of the people are Dutch and come from Amsterdam. So you have the Tulip Festival and the windmills and that kind of stuff to kind of see and all of that. So um, that's always a plus that your town is considered one of the more beautiful towns in Michigan. Um,
But yeah, I feel like there's a big but here. Let's talk
I
about
mean,
Simone's big butt. That's a Pee-wee's Big Adventure
I
cut
mean,
there, man.
they have a gang problem, or at least they did at
Okay.
one point.
Yeah.
Um, they had a gang problem with the Hispanic gangs.
It
Um,
wasn't a bunch of people wearing clogs and
no, it was, I mean, eh, obviously a farming community with a lot of farms, so you have a lot of
yeah,
Hispanic workers, and sadly, you have 98.5% of them are beautiful, hardworking people that are never going to do anything, but you have that criminal element that's always going to try to take advantage of any situation, and it only takes a few, you know,
yeah. And that's what you
to
hear about.
come in, and then they start recruiting local teenagers and people that have nothing better to do. And I mean, it's not a problem that it's just a Holland problem. I mean, it's happened all over the country. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, all over the world.
yeah, and you see it happening even now in small towns that traditionally you would never expect to have the problem are the most susceptible, because if you have a town of 3 or 4 thousand people, chances are you have a very small police force that is inadequately equipped to handle anything more than that. So when the gangs move in, they're generally better armed and
Right.
more of a force than the police are. The police are
And
not equipped in a town
uh,
of 3,000 people that deal with cartel members that are, you know, equipped like
yeah,
a small army. So they take over towns and counties, and places like West Virginia and Northern Virginia and North Carolina, Georgia have all seen problems when these people have moved in and, just sort of wreaked havoc on it. And again, it's not I don't mean that as a political statement. It's just sort of a fact of life. And then, the state police and the federal government have to come in and sort of either break this up or say move along to some other place, when you sweep the dust from under the rug to behind the refrigerator, and
Right.
um,
Yeah,
but
that happens a
it's
lot with homeless. A lot
I mean
of,
it's sad that you have to deal with it,
yep,
but it's life. Like life isn't pretty and it's not for the faint of heart, man. It's as a father, the one thing I've prepared my kids for, and I've told them my oldest two are in their 30s, and I taught them from a very early age, like, look, if I do nothing else in life, I'm going to prepare you for the world. And these are the facts. When you walk out my door, nobody gives a shit about your opinion. Nobody cares what you think. You're hired to do a job, and your boss doesn't care whether you have a family. They don't care what your feelings are. They don't care what you think the world should be. They want it done their way, on time, how they want it done. So, high school doesn't end just because you think, oh, I graduated high school. Now I won't have any more bullies. Wrong. 50 years old, still dealing with bullies, still dealing with the same assholes that I dealt with in high school. It just is what it is. You have two choices: put on your big boy panties and headbutt that shit and keep going, or stay at home in the corner, sucking your thumb and whining like a little bitch, and you never get nothing done in life. So, um, and people have always told me, "Oh, you're so harsh to your kids. You're so blunt with them, and you don't look."
it's good.
It is what it is. I'm
It,
not going to send my kids into the world with this false sense of the world gives a shit about them or what they think.
yeah,
The only people that give a shit what you think are within the four walls of your home. Like
yeah,
once you walk out that door, you're open game, bro. Like it just they're gonna attack you at every point. You could prepare for it and deal with it, or you can be miserable. And you know, I'm the type. I've always got a smart ass remark. If you say, "I don't like you," well, that's okay. Your mom thinks I'm pretty awesome.
right.
And you just
Yeah,
totally throw people off if you got a remark ready to combat, you know,
yeah.
or even
And
better, if you just don't answer, just ignore them. Don't give them that satisfaction of even letting them know that they affected you. That's better than saying something back because then you're in their head. Well, why didn't he react to that? Why didn't he say something back? Why didn't he, and now you have them wondering if there's something wrong with them. Was it not a good enough remark? Am I not, so you've not only throwing it back on them by not saying anything, now you're fucking with them because their mental faculties have to work overtime to figure out why you didn't react the way they wanted. So,
right.
I'm
And
an expert
it's
at it, bro. Like,
it's hard to
that's
find which one too, because you sometimes don't know. You don't know which one's going to be more effective.
what I'm saying. Like, you know, you got to just keep going. Like Clint
Yeah,
Eastwood said in Heartbreak Ridge, improvise, adapt, overcome. That's,
yeah. It's an important strategy to life. Like,
yeah,
I mean, fuck, dude. Like, I don't know. You can stay how you are, and that's fine. If you really want, you can fucking get like work on improving yourself or improving the situation
yeah.
somehow, and or you can just that's fine. Or you can fucking complain about it and do nothing, and that's fine too. It's not effective, but It's
And you
fine.
see
And
it every day. You see it
yeah,
every day. You see the people who produce stuff because they just keep pushing and keep pushing. And then you'll see the ones that will stand on the corner and they'll tell you, this is how the world should be. This is what we should do. Well, why are you talking about it instead of doing it?
yep. What are you doing about
You
it?
know, yeah, like I'm the first type. Like I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do it because I had a I had a great grandma. Her number one thing from the earliest age tell us all the time. She was never about words. It was always action. And she'd say, I can show you better than I can tell you. And she was about that life, bro. Like if she might have been in her 70s, but she had hands and she'd put them on you if she had to. And
Yeah.
she was very simple. She wasn't going to tell you about it. She was going to show you, you know.
You, you ever come out to the East Coast at all? I mean, you're on the East
I've,
Coast, but you go
I've
out
I've been to the
there.
East Coast. I've been to North Carolina, Virginia, uh, been to Baltimore, unfortunately.
You ever go to Philly?
Yeah, I have been to Philly twice,
Did how
unfortunately.
the people didn't work with you there? Like I found
I've,
like it's been pretty great with being very blunt and forward there. There's a lot
I
of
mean,
like,
I will give them that, but I've also come across some people from Philly. Yeah, I'm kind of 50-50 out of Philly. I have
okay,
some very good friends from Philly that I work with musically. Um, but I've also met some people from Philly that, you know, I'd probably rather hit with a cattle
yeah,
prod than ever have to talk to.
right.
And
That
the sports
2% of
fans,
dickheads.
yeah, the sports fans from Philly are
Uh,
horrible, horrible.
dude, you can get anything you want in this town by just going around and saying "Go Birds." That's
I
all you
mean,
got to do
it's
in this fucking town, dude, and everyone's
like,
your friend.
like Philly sports fans rank right up there with Dallas sports fans for me. Like,
Yeah,
just, like
yeah,
some
dude,
of the
yeah,
shit is just like, but I mean, this year, hey, the Eagles they're doing their thing. And as a Lions fan, I think that's what it's going to come down to is which of these two teams, when they meet in the finals, I think it's going to be the Lions versus the Eagles, and we'll see who can stop who. Um,
and
our
it's wild. The
defenses beat
Lions
the,
fucking crushing it.
I mean,
It's
our
cool.
defenses beat the shit, and it's next man up, man. Like we just keep sticking pieces in there, and they seem to fall into place and work. But
Yeah,
how long is that going to work? Is that going to continue to work, or is that eventually going to break down? And I mean, we got some tough games coming up. We got another game against the Vikings. We got another game against the Packers. We got a game against the Bills coming up. So, I mean, if we lose too many more pieces, eventually that's just gonna break down. And you guys got Barkley. I mean, that's a tall task to defend against. So, um,
yeah.
we'll
I,
see how it
I'm not
plays
an
out. I
Eagles
mean,
fan.
do what?
Just I'm not an Eagles fan. Just so you know,
No,
I'll
I mean, I'm
just
just saying that's
yeah.
kind of what
Also,
you're looking at, Eagles versus Lions.
yeah,
Um, I think realistically, those are the only two teams in the NFC that AFC, the Bills are probably the top team, but Kansas City's always there. Even the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers could sneak up. I mean, they're a lot better than people are giving them credit for.
yeah.
There's three or four teams on the AFC side I think could potentially maybe wiggle their way in there. Um,
I, you ever been to one of those football games that are when it's snowing out? Since you're up in that area, have you ever been to one of those?
I've
Like,
never been I've only been to three football games in my life, and all of them were when the Lions played at the Silverdome. So it was inside
okay,
and
that's
all of that. So I've
nice.
never been to an actual outdoor. The only outdoor football game I've ever been to is University of Michigan at the Big House,
Oh
and it was
shit.
early in the season, so it was still
Okay.
pretty, you know, pretty
Yeah.
just whatever out. Um, it
Like I
wasn't
can't
cold,
imagine
it
going to
wasn't hot.
Buffalo and
No, I've never
seeing the
been
people.
to
You
anything.
gotta shovel out the fucking seats
Yeah, I would
before
say
you
I've never
go
seen anything like
sit
what they were
down.
playing in yesterday to where,
It's crazy.
you know, um, Now I've played in high school. We played a game that we called the Mud Bowl. It had
Uh,
rained for 5 or 6 days ahead of time, and our field was just man. It looked like Woodstock '99, bro. Like it
oh
was
damn.
just ankle deep mud from one end of the field to the other. Um, the team we were playing was Millington, and Millington just every year their team was just their bus would roll up, they'd rumble off the bus, man, and it's like, who the fuck hired the Green Bay Packers? Like they're just the fuck are you guys putting in the water over there, bro? Like your entire
Yeah.
offensive line is like 6'3", 260, and they're like 10th and 11th graders. Like the hell
Holy
are you
shit.
putting? So it was always like playing an NFL team.
Yeah.
So they couldn't get any traction because they were big and clumsy and in the mud, and we couldn't do much because it was wet and slippery, and we just pushed each other around in the mud for 60 minutes. And we tried to throw a few passes, and the ball was so wet and slippery. It's like you'd throw it and the receiver would try to catch it and it'd fly up into the air. And then it was a scrum of 9 people trying to grab at the ball, like something out of a SpongeBob cartoon or something. So it was
Yeah.
comical. Um, we ended up winning like I think we won like 13-12 or something. It was
Oh,
it was a
yeah.
total shit
Hard
show,
to
and we were
score.
cold and wet, and I mean, it was just a miserable freaking game, but we called it
Yeah.
the Mud Bowl because, it was just one of them games. And, um, but it was fun. I mean, as a high school kid, you look back on it and you think it was one of the
Yeah.
more memorable games that we had. Um,
It- that was like how all mine were. All Dude, all of mine were that. It was always fucking mud and rain and just trying to do that. Like it was
I,
hard.
I was pretty fortunate. I went to, I grew up in a town that only had about 1,000 people in it. Um,
Whoa.
Mostly farmers and rich people. So we had really good we had a really nice school. We had a really super nice track and a really nice football field and baseball diamonds. They were, they put a lot of money into it because um, we didn't always do well in football, but our baseball and track teams were state champions year after year after year. Um,
Oh shit. Okay.
so we always had good facilities to play on, and they were laid out so that stuff like this didn't happen. um, as far as the fields being situated in areas that wouldn't flood, that wouldn't all of that. But it had just rained so much leading into
Yeah.
this game. There was no place for the water to go at that point. Like there was so much water. Like part of downtown Mayville was underwater at the time. Like it was, like
Oh shit.
the water by the grocery store was almost knee deep. Um, they
Okay.
literally put sandbags around Wingert's IGA to keep the water out of the grocery store. So
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah. Fuck
I
yeah.
mean, it was just one of them situations where Mother Nature decided that, good luck. Um,
Yeah.
you
Here you
know,
go.
Mother Nature needed to get laid and she hadn't gotten any in a couple months, and she decided
Yeah.
that we were going to be we were her enemy at the time. So Cass River flooded. It went into all the fields, and then it went from the fields. It went across the road into the parking lot of the IGA and the bowling alley, and then it creeped towards us. And of course, the football field, the baseball diamonds, they were at the lower back side of the school, so they were low-lying areas to where the water kind of creeped up Murphy Street and down into the football field, and it wasn't nothing you
Yeah.
could do. There was just no place to push the water. Um, so, we didn't have water standing on the field, but it was mud, like that thick,
Oh, okay.
sort of sticky mud where you run in it and so
Yeah.
it was, you know, it
The
was like cow manure consistency, sort of, it
yeah.
was to where, um, it was a mess. And like I said, we were wet and cold and miserable afterwards. And, you know, everybody looked like They had spent the last week cleaning cow stalls in the barn. Um,
That's fun.
so it
Yeah,
was, yeah,
I,
it was just one of them games, man. Um,
I believe that the word fuck is an onomatopoeia, is the sound that an ass, like a donkey, makes when it's pulling its hoof out of the mud. Like
so yeah,
so.
so
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not. I think I remember hearing that. So I'm just spouting,
yeah. I mean, and to give
whatever.
you an example of how good Millington was as a football team, 2 days ago they just won the state championship for like the seventh time in 12 years or something.
Oh
And
shit.
they beat their opponent 48-6. Um, they're just that they have just continually year after year turned out big old monster ass kids who, you know, they're the size of they're the size of what the Lions have on their line, and this
Yeah,
is 10th and 11th graders. They're just oversized big. You can't push them around. They don't have a lot of talent, but you know, your average high schooler is 6 foot, maybe 160, 170 pounds. How the hell are you supposed to run past guys that are 6'3" and 250, 6'3"? They had one dude the year we played them, my second year of playing them. This guy was from Germany. He was an exchange student. And this dude was 6'7", 320 pounds. And they had him in as a running back. And I'm like,
bro.
he's averaging 420 yards a game. Of course he is. He's the size of a freaking tank. Like, how the hell are you supposed to tackle somebody like that?
Right.
Like,
Uh,
he'd run through the line and you jump on him and he'd be running down the field carrying like five guys on his back.
So what do you got to do to tackle that guy? Because what was the reason
Well,
it's not done in the pros with that
so
strategy?
theoretically, you have to take his legs out from underneath him. Problem
Right,
is, there is a technique to it because if you do it wrong, it's called clipping. So you get a penalty
right.
for it. So again, I mean, you have to get in front of him and take his legs out from underneath him without getting stepped on or injured or kicked in the process. It's like trying to
Right.
take the legs out from underneath a donkey, basically.
Yeah.
Here's a guy who's, he's running down the field carrying four guys on his back. And you take his legs out.
Like
Okay. Yeah.
fuck.
You take his legs out. You know so damn much while you standing on the sideline. Like, you come tackle him, bro. Like, like,
Yeah. Like
you know,
Little Giants with Spike.
yeah,
You ever see that movie?
yeah. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. I mean, that's what it was like
Yeah.
playing Millington, dude. It was like they were just so big. They weren't fast. It's not like they were talented. They were just so damn big you couldn't tackle them. They just beat you to death. And by the
Yeah.
third quarter, they were so damn big you were exhausted trying to fucking push them around. You were out of breath. You couldn't chase them.
Yeah.
And
What the
you
fuck do you
know,
do then?
yeah, it's
Just be
kind of
like,
like what the
okay, I
Lions are
give up.
doing. They just
Yeah.
beat you up, beat you up, beat you up for 2 quarters. By the third quarter, Gibbs and Montgomery could just run wild because you're so damn winded that you just say, fuck it, let him go.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Go.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's like the old Pittsburgh Steelers of the 70s, when they had
The Iron Curtain.
the Iron Curtain,
What?
they would just beat you up, beat you up, beat you up to the point where they beat you into submission.
It's pretty wild that they got to call it the Iron Curtain. But I
Yeah,
mean, it makes sense because it's like the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it's like
yeah.
they got to call it the fucking Iron Curtain.
I
That's
mean,
wild.
them dudes were tough, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, you had
Yeah.
Jack Ham literally played 6 games with a broken arm. Lambert played a game with a broken leg. Like, that
What is it
is
with Pittsburgh for people, man?
just, again, like,
You
I mean,
got Kurt Angle winning the gold
you
medal with
know,
a broken freaking neck,
that's what
man.
I'm saying. Like, them dudes the Steelers had in the 70s, that was just a different level of tough and mean, man. Like, you know, fucking uh
Do you
ham.
think it was like anything to do with what was going on? Like, do you think it was more like in the 80s you had people like LT that just like
I think it was just a different era. I mean,
yeah,
you Jack Ham, he was a Vietnam veteran, had his half his face blown off in Vietnam, you know. I mean, his face was partially burned from a fucking grenade. So, I mean, they were just
pretty fucking hardcore.
yeah, like I mean, it was just I think it was that time they were, men like that, which are our grandfathers and great grandfathers now. They were iron workers, they were steel workers, they were coal miners, they were, you know, just rub some dirt on it,
Yeah.
drink water, walk it off, and you fucking bone would be sticking out of your goddamn arm, and fucking arm would be like this, and put some dirt on it. I don't think dirt's gonna fix this, like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way they
Yeah.
were. My grandfather, he's 97, still runs his farm every single day.
And you know what? Like the rub some dirt on it is such a good thing to do.
Yeah,
Like it's like uh that's what's gonna keep you healthy. Like you rub some like the dirt, you get the dirt in there and like it makes it like it's fine. It's fucking it's
I
all
mean, my
right.
grandfather, he's
At
97. He
97.
still gets out there and bales hay. And man, if you've never worked on a farm and baled hay, I didn't like doing it when I was 20. I sure as hell ain't trying to do it when I'm 97.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just, again, it's another level of tough, man. And I tell my grandpa all the time, at 97, you're supposed to just be relaxing, right? If I stop moving, that's when the devil will come and get me.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. Um,
Yeah. I think
I
that's
know when
true, but
you know,
it's hard.
I yeah, I know when I'm 97, I ain't gonna be thinking about baling hay or working a farm or
Yeah.
any of that shit. Like,
No
hell, I
fucking
hope I
way.
hit 97. I hope I hit 70,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Me too.
I know at 97, but I come from a whole line of men like that, that's just the way they are and they've always been. My great grandfather, he was 103 when he died. You know,
Oh,
Dad's 75, still driving semi every day. He's 54 years as a truck driver. So,
holy
you know,
shit.
yeah, I mean, I didn't get much sympathy growing up. It was, drink water, rub some dirt on it, and keep going, man. Like,
Yeah.
nobody gave a shit. Like,
I think that's important though. That's an important thing to fucking learn. Like I think that's lost
yeah,
on a lot of people right now. Fucking drink some water, rub some dirt on it, and fucking you
that's
said
what I'm
something
saying. People
I
don't
fucked it
understand.
up.
Like, oh, you're so harsh to your kids. Like, look,
You need it. You'll
here's
be
the
good.
thing. Like, I come from a long line of people like that. Very few of them have ever gone to jail. They're successful. They work hard. They own their homes, and everything we've ever had, we've earned. And that's not a bad thing. So, if I'm wrong in that, then I'd just be wrong. But look, I've raised 4 kids so far. My fifth one is 12. They've never been arrested. They work every day. They work hard. They're not drug dealers. They're not drug addicts. They help people. I call that a success. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not out here destroying shit. They're not stealing from people. They're not ripping people off. They're not causing chaos in the street. So, when you look at the news and see what your typical 24 through 30-year-old is doing, I'll take the win where I can get it. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I got two of them that are mechanics. One's former Marines. She's a dispatcher for a trucking company, you know, and, you know, one works at Walmart, is a manager at Walmart. Um, so, hey, you
Yeah.
know, they
All
work, they have
fucking
their own
working.
places, they provide for themselves, take
Yeah.
care of their children, you know,
What more can you ask?
that's what
Like
I'm saying.
and that's what's important. Like with uh with
They're not living
offspring
in,
and evolution and shit like that.
yeah,
Like
I mean,
that's
they're not living in my basement. They don't ask me for money. They
yeah.
have their own houses, take care of their own bills. Cool.
Yeah.
Hey. as a parent, I think that's the best you can hope for is, they take care of themselves and don't take drugs and don't hurt anybody. I
Yeah,
mean,
that seems
that's,
like a pretty good win in the
yeah, I
world.
mean, you know, I know a lot, I know a lot of shitty parents with a lot of shitty kids, man. And, uh, you know,
Yeah. And so like what happens with that? So that's something I've wondered about. So when you got parents with shitty kids, like if the kids are shitty but the parents are cool, does that happen? Or is there times when
oh yeah.
the kids are
I mean,
cool and the parents are shitty, or the kids are shitty and the
you know,
parents are dicks?
sometimes you have the whole argument of nature versus nurture. Um, is it genetic or is it how you raise them?
Yeah.
And I have a friend, she's amazing. Um, was raised by two very good parents in a good home. Both parents were there their whole life. She is an amazing person, volunteers, married, all of that. Her brother, complete opposite, has been to prison multiple times. Um, Here's a guy who was raised exactly the same way as she was, in the same house with the same parents. They ended up on opposite ends of the spectrum. So sometimes, no matter what you do as a parent, if your kid gets in with bad elements, if they just choose to take that path, there's not really anything you can do about it. Sometimes, um, sometimes a child will be the complete opposite of their parents. Sometimes they'll be the same. Children who grew up in an alcoholic home have an 80% chance of becoming alcoholics, statistics say. But you will also have those children that see the chaos that alcohol causes and they won't want anything to do with alcohol. I don't want to be like that. I want to break that cycle. And they will become the crusader for not using alcohol, being straight edge and all of that. And it's really, the amazing thing as human beings is we have free will. We get to make that choice and we solely suffer the consequences of our choices. And people have to realize that every choice you make has a consequence, good or bad. I have freedom of speech. You absolutely do have a right to say anything you want. But with that right of freedom of speech come the consequences that if you say something stupid, you can be fired for it. You can be outed online. You can be doxxed. You can be, for whatever reason, that the things you say have consequences. You
Yeah.
have a right to bear arms. You absolutely do. But if you abuse that right, you can go to jail. You can go to prison. You can lose that right. So the choices you make, I always tell my kids, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Right. What's the stupidest prize you ever gave out at when you were working at the in Sandusky? What was the stupidest prize that they had?
Um,
Or what was the coolest prize they had?
mm, not
I thought
exactly
you were gonna
sure.
pull something out like you had something. Like
I,
I
I
kept
I
this
dealt with
from
I dealt with so many people. Like we dealt with 2,000 people a day. Um, so you saw every conceivable situation. From hot weather, cold weather, people that were super nice, people that were complete assholes. Um, we dealt with the day that New Kids on the Block showed up at the park and the
uh,
news got out. So, of course, everybody within a 100-mile radius wanted to see New Kids on the Block. So they flooded to the park. Now, Cedar Point has a capacity of 70,000 people. That's how many people they can let into the park at any one time. Well, news by 9 o'clock had spread that New Kids on the Block were there. And by 9:30, there were 130,000 people trying to get into Cedar Point to see
Whoa.
New Kids on the Block. So it was packed to the gills. It was a hot day. It was about 80, 88 degrees. It was miserable. The lines just were never ending. People were not coming and going home, or they weren't moving, flowing like would normally flow, like they were following New Kids around. And of course, New Kids had their security that were taking them from place to place, but weren't letting the crowds get near them. So it was kind of
Yeah.
like this. Here's New Kids on the Block surrounded by security in this bubble, and then you had this crowd just following them from one ride to the next. And it was a complete clusterfuck. But a lot of the people, they were very understanding. They were very cool. They wanted to be in the vicinity of New Kids on the Block. I got to see New Kids on the Block ride the Blue Streak. I got to see him ride the Magnum. I got to see him ride the Demon Drop. I saw Joey order a cheeseburger. Dude, they're singers. They're not even good singers at that, but I mean,
Yeah.
I understand it. Like it is what it is, but um we actually got to meet them. They came up and ordered pizza from us. Um, they were cool. I mean, I like watching Donnie now on Blue Bloods because he's the one who actually did the ordering, and he was actually very cool. He was very low key, down to earth. He was pretty much the person you saw. And hey, you got to admire any guy that marries Jennifer McCarthy, man, because she's fucking hot, bro. Like, I mean, like kudos on that
Whoa.
alone. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
He's
so
he's married to Jenny McCarthy.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Donnie Wahlberg is married to Jenny McCarthy,
Hell
so
yeah, dude. Good for
that's what
him.
I'm saying. Like,
Good for
hey,
him.
kudos on that alone, bro.
Yeah.
Like, shit.
Dude,
I mean,
13-year-old Rusty will be pretty happy.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Like
you know what I'm
shit.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and
Give yourself a high five there, fucking Donnie
you know,
Wahlberg. And so if people want to give you a high five there, how are they going to give you a high five in the world? How are they going to find
oh,
you to give you a high five?
I'm pretty much everywhere on social media. Just type in Music God CJ playing. Um, I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I'm on
Ooh.
Indeed, even though I don't really use it. It's more for my school. Um, we have the YouTube channel, Music God Reacts. Um,
What's your school?
I go to LA Film School. I'm getting dual degrees in music production and media communications. Um,
Oh shit.
my
Okay.
goal is sort of I want to build my social media thing up to where I can kind of be like Mr. Beast a little bit.
Okay.
And use the money that I earned from social media to go out and do really cool things for people and, you know, help homeless shelters, help food banks, help um, that kind of situation. I'm very big on St. Jude's is very, very near and dear to my heart. Special Olympics. I will fight you over Special Olympics. Um, don't
Have
ever,
you
ever, ever talk derogatory around me or talk down to somebody with a disability.
have you
Um,
seen their TikToks? The
Special
Special
Olympics,
Olympics TikToks?
I haven't, but
Dude,
I'm,
they're fucking great.
yeah,
Whoever's doing their marketing
I
for it,
mean,
dude, it's
yeah,
awesome. And it could
I,
like make it and I was talking about this morning, dude. Like uh just like everyone, they're just like everyone else. Like there's probably gonna be
I'm,
2% of them that are dickheads, and there's 98% that are fucking
you know
just
what?
people.
I was in a unique situation, man. I was 18 years old, getting ready to age out of foster care at the end of being in foster care for almost 4 years. Um, the last foster home I was in, and I was in a whole shit ton of them over the 4 years. I was in about 30 different foster homes just because I was a dickhead in high school and, you know, just didn't give a shit about anything. But the last foster home I was in, when I got placed there, my social worker said, well, this family's different. They're older and they've been foster parents for a very long time. So I got there and she was 75 and he was 78. And I was like, holy shit, like they're almost 80 still foster parents, right?
Yeah.
Found out that they had been foster parents for 55 years and
Whoa.
had 187 foster children during those years.
Holy shit.
140 of them had been children with disabilities in some form, Down syndrome, autism, all of that. So their specialty was taking in the people that didn't have anywhere else to go. Um,
Yeah.
Put me in a room with this other kid. He was autistic. And I immediately was just like, whoa, like, hold up. Like, I couldn't communicate with them, had no understanding of anything about this. Um,
Yeah.
the one thing that I had going for me, I was a world-class soccer player. I actually had a scholarship to Kentucky Wesleyan to play soccer for them. And I come home from soccer practice one day. My foster mom said, well, are you free on Wednesdays? And it's like, why? Well, Mikey's got a Special Olympic soccer team and they need a coach. And you should volunteer to do it. And I was like, I don't know the first thing about teaching soccer to a bunch of Special Olympic kids, like that's not the word I use because I was an asshole at
Right.
the time. I didn't understand. But, my brain at 18 years old was like, I don't know the first fucking thing about that. Well,
Yeah.
just go out there and watch him. And I'll tell you what, bro, it was the single most defining moment of my life. Going out there and watching that team. The second I showed up, hugs all around, smiles, the kindest, most loving group I've ever met. No quit in them, didn't have a hateful bone in their body, didn't even
That's what you want to
understand the
coach.
concept of it. And
Yeah.
I, after that practice, I sat on that bench and I cried for an hour because I felt so bad. I was so ashamed of my mindset about them, not understanding them. And I've worked with Special Olympics since that time. And I will fight you now over them. If I hear
Yeah.
someone use the R word, if I see somebody mistreat them, I will physically fight you where I stand over it. Like that and my children are the two triggers. Bro, I will go to jail and smile in the mugshot over that. Like I don't give a shit. Don't you dare ever
Yeah.
talk down or mistreat somebody with a disability like that. Like that is well instantly my hands will be like, let's go. Like we're I don't give a shit where I'm at. I'd be at Kroger's, Walmart, in a parking lot. I don't care. I'm gonna fight you.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So but I'm all over and I have a new radio show getting back on track. I have a brand new radio show that just it's on wilddogsradio.com every Sunday, 7 p.m. Motor City Glam Slam. It's a 2 hour radio show where I play all the awesome hard rock, hair metal, glam, sleaze metal, punk, um, all of the awesome bands we grew up with, the Motley Crues, the Bon Jovis, AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, um, all of the
Hell
bands
yeah.
that should have been huge, bands like Junkyard and Warrior Soul, Shark Island and Spread Eagle, all of the newer bands that are coming up, like Hardcore Superstar and Rich Kid Express, and music like you heard in Peacekeeper um, with John Cena. That's
Oh
pretty
yeah.
much the type of music I play is stuff like that. Um, so it's just
Fuck
a
yeah.
fun avenue of flexing my musical muscles and letting me show that yes, I have 4 million songs in my music library across 100 genres, but this is really the genre where my heart is, man. Like, I love metal and hard rock, man. I love big bombastic guitars and raging vocals and big drum, you know, songs like Bang Your Head and Come On Feel the Noise and Summertime Girls and Back in Black and, just the sound of a killer guitar riff there, rocky like a
Yeah.
hurricane, that's so this guitar solo, da 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 da, just I love
So
that fucking bombastic style. So
where do you get to rock out the most? Where's your place where you feel like you can rock out if you right
right
fucking
here,
there, man?
man. I
You you
mean, I
you
built a
just
home.
turn it up.
Yeah, dude, I've got an
11.
entire recording studio here. If you look, I've got the studio monitor speakers. I've got the mixing. I've got the pro mics. Um, yeah, I just, you know, if I get antsy, I turn the music on, I crank it up. I have 300-watt JBL studio
Hell yeah.
speakers it'll rock the shit right off the wall. Um,
Yeah.
we built a home studio. It's affectionately been dubbed by my friends as the House of Fuckery. So, that's what we do here. There's a whole lot of fuckery that goes on musically.
As
We've
there should be.
recorded, yeah, we've recorded hip hop CDs here. We've recorded country CDs here. We've recorded metal CDs here. Um, we even did one that was country and hip hop together. Um,
Hell yeah.
it was bluegrass and hip hop. Basically, imagine Wu-Tang rapping over bluegrass music. Um,
Cool. That's
that's
a I
yeah.
like that
So,
idea. All right.
we've done a little bit of everything here, man. We just
Yeah.
have fun with it. So
Dude, if you ever get a chance, have you been out to Paisley Park in
I have
Minnesota?
I
Dude,
have been to Paisley Park and
that fucking studio is unreal.
yeah. Well,
It's
considering who built it and what he did there, I
right.
mean,
Everything.
I mean,
Fuck.
next to Freddie Mercury, I
Yep.
can't name a musician who ranked higher. I mean, this is a man who world-class singer, world-class musician, songwriter, producer, played 27 instruments,
Yeah.
defied genre after genre, and that's the number one thing about Prince that I loved. As you see in the background, um, Purple Rain poster next to Metallica, next to Pink Floyd, next to Judas Priest, above AC/DC, you have Bob Marley, Iron Maiden. I,
Fuck
I'm
yeah.
I'm all over the map musically, and
Yeah.
that's why I love Prince. That's why I love Queen,
Yep.
because from one song to the next, you know, you got hard rock, you got classical, you got funk, you got hip hop, you got soul. Prince was that dude who, not even from record to record, but from song to song, you would get Let's Go Crazy, which had the ripping guitar solo. And then you had Purple
Yep.
Rain, which was the soulful song. And then you had Darling Nikki, which was sort of the dance track. And, then you had When Doves Cry, which was just that really sort of doon, 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 doon. It was that very simple background beat, that staccato beat, man. But, that delivery he had, dig if you will,
Yeah.
the picture, me and you embraced a kiss. And it was just the vocal totally took over. And I mean,
Yeah.
it was, you could say he was generational, but I don't even think it was that. Prince was a once in a lifetime artist. He wasn't generational. You're not going to get another artist like Prince in this next
No.
generation. He's truly a once in a lifetime artist. Frank Sinatra was a
Yeah.
once in a lifetime artist.
For
Um,
sure.
Freddie Mercury, once in a lifetime artist.
For
Um,
sure.
Damash, if you
Sure.
know who Damash is, once in a lifetime artist. There's a a kid who's 27 years old, uh, 7.5 octave vocal range.
which is
Just
fucking unreal.
completely alien, bro. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not even an opera fan per se, but when I
yeah,
started this reaction channel, everyone's like, you gotta react to Dimash.
yeah,
Okay, what's so special about Dimash? And I watched the first video and just was like, just, as somebody who doesn't even listen to classical music,
yeah,
he gets those notes and it's just brings a tear to your eye because it's like listening to an angel, bro. Like it's just like fuck the training and the process that goes into getting to that point of,
yeah,
you know, your typical singer is lucky to have 3 octaves, 3.5 octaves. This kid's seven
yeah.
and a half, man. That's almost triple the
The
range of
best.
every singer.
Yeah,
You think of Freddie. Freddie just under 5 octaves. Axl Rose just under 5 octaves. King Diamond just over 5 octaves. So you take what King Diamond, Axl Rose, and Freddie Mercury did, and then you add 32 more notes on top of that. And that's
yeah.
what you're talking about with the match.
Do you
So
ever think, how do we get him to a different genre of music, or do you
he
just
does.
you leave
He
him
does.
alone? Oh, okay,
No, he
cool.
does. He is within the classical element. He's got songs that are pop songs. He just did one that sounds like a New Orleans style jazz. It's got this, it's like the video is him as a vampire, and it's almost like a take on Interview with the Vampire, where he's playing the piano and he
Cool.
disappears. And I mean, it's theatrical as fuck, but the song almost sounds like something Harry Connick Jr. would do. Um,
Whoa.
and he's got
Okay.
songs that are, I mean, he's really all over the spectrum musically. And it's kind of crazy. Like, as I've gotten into his music, you know, I'm discovering that this kid really doesn't have any boundaries musically. Like, yes, he is a classically trained singer, but he's
Yeah.
branching out into pop music, into dance music, into, he's done covers of Queen, he's done covers of Frank Sinatra. Uh, he covered All by Myself by Eric Carmen. So he really is a pop artist with the training of like Pavarotti and people like that, Bocelli and whatnot. Um,
Yeah.
so the kid's a real talent, and he set up this organization, World Peace Organization, where all of the money he's earning, or the majority of the money he's earning, is going into this organization for world peace, feeding the hungry, bettering lives of people in third world countries, because he's from Kazakhstan. So he's
Hell yeah.
not just earning money, massive amounts of fans, he's giving it back. And again, that's exactly what I want to do
And,
with all of this. This is all of this joking, all of this talking about music, all of this to me is about connecting with people and the message of treat each other with kindness, do better, and take those little opportunities that life presents to you to help someone. Don't just look past that, because you never know where someone is coming from or what they're going through.
You will sleep better than you have ever slept. You've never been this relaxed. Are you ready to change your life? I'm Rusty Diamond, certified hypnotist. You don't need to leave your house. You can stay in your bed. You can stay in your favorite chair.
You just need a computer or your phone.
You can get a hold of me. Stay at home. I'll make your life better.
Hypnosisisgreat.com.
That simple nod, acknowledging them, that simple hello, or maybe just that small conversation you have with somebody standing in line. You don't know where that person is at that point in their life. If they're down, if they're staring down the barrel of a gun, if they're at that point where they're just ready to give up, and maybe that little bit of hope can get them through the day. Just one more day, one more day, one more day. Um, Life is tough, man, and the world is dark, and just always be a light, like just always be a light to people. And again, like I said, if life gives you that opportunity, I'm not saying take on the world's problems, but if you have a local homeless shelter, donate $10, donate $20. Take take go to go to Sam's Club, get a couple of $15 buckets of laundry detergent and take it down there. Because if they're a homeless shelter, they're always washing blankets, they're always washing sheets, they're always washing something, and they go through laundry soap like crazy. And that's an expense that takes away from maybe them serving food to somebody who's hungry. It takes away from maybe them providing another service. And it's what's $30? I mean, honestly, most people spend that at Starbucks, at McDonald's, at Wendy's. You know, you spend it on beer or you spend it on shit like this, you know, and that $30 could really do so much for somebody. Um, so, not to preach to anyone, and I don't mean that to preach to somebody, but that's really what I want my channel to be about is just putting good back out there and using it as a positive force to reinforce that, yes, the world is shitty. Yes, politically, the world is divided. Everyone's arguing over everything. Stop. Just be a good human, you know. Just treat each other with kindness and the words of Mork and Mindy, nanu nanu, like just be better, man. Just be better. Um,
Oh,
have a
yeah.
laugh, have a smile at someone. See if it doesn't make you feel better, man, because I know I'm gonna have the shittiest day in the world. And if I see this older person in line at Walmart and I have a conversation with them and learn a little bit about their life, makes me feel better, man. It just makes me know that I'm not the only one in the world with problems, and I'm not the only one dealing with long lines. I'm not the only one dealing with overcrowded stores and shitty parking lots that don't give you enough space to park your car. And I mean,
Yeah.
everyday
But
shit.
yeah, what is everyday shit?
That's what I'm saying. Just
Yeah.
just do better. That's the message. Just do
Hell
better,
yeah.
treat each other better, and be kind. The world doesn't need
Good.
more anger and hatred and bullshit. Like,
Well,
just
yeah.
you know, just
So
yeah.
speaking
Anyway,
of kind, get the fuck off my radio show, dickhead. Uh, dude, fuck yeah, dude. Thank you so much for being on here, man. I
absolutely,
fucking
brother. Thank you for having
yeah,
me, man.
yeah. I'm happy we got to talk, and yeah, it was cool. And like anybody that once I saw who you were friends with and who your people were, I'm like, okay, cool, dude. Like, no problem. I'll bring you on. Like, hell yeah. And
Yeah,
I'm
like
glad they're
I
good
welcome anyone
people.
to come on my shows. Um, again,
If you
it's
want me to come on your show,
yeah. I mean,
I'll
it's all
come on your
about
show.
yeah, absolutely, brother. Like it's all about just putting positivity in the world, man, and just
Yeah,
conversating. Because when you get to know people, you learn not only about them, but you learn about their life. You learn about how they overcome what adversity threw at them and how they work the problem out. And maybe someone is going through the same problem and they hear your solution to it and think, hey, maybe that'll work for me. And, you know,
change
it's,
their life
yeah, like
without you
it
knowing
ain't
it.
even about changing your life, bro. It's one day at a time. If you can
One
get
day,
through
yeah,
one day, you can get through the next. And
fucking right.
tomorrow's never guaranteed. So that's the thing. You
Yeah,
just got to get through tonight and
yeah,
you can tackle tomorrow, man. Like,
fuck yeah,
don't worry about tomorrow. Just get through today. You know,
yeah,
don't go out negatively on today. We'll worry about tomorrow, but right now let's worry about right here. Um,
yeah. And
so
don't forget about right here. Don't like you still got to remember the right here is right here and right now is right
that's
now,
what
and
I'm
it's okay
saying
to
though.
be
That's
there.
deal with the right here and now. Forget about tomorrow, forget about yesterday. I mean, remember yesterday in the sense of, okay, this is a mistake I made. Let's not repeat it. But don't stress tomorrow so much that you don't enjoy today. You know,
Fuck yeah.
like,
Hell yeah.
you're so worried about the future that you're not seeing what's right in front of your face. And
Yeah.
that's just as bad because you look back and you think, God, I spent so much time and I missed all of this along the way. You didn't enjoy, like the old saying, you didn't stop and smell the roses. You didn't see what was right in
Right.
front of your face. And that can be just as bad. I mean, I know a lot of things I would like to go back and enjoy that I kind of just sped past because I was in a hurry to get to tomorrow. And now I'm the complete opposite. I'll get there when I get there, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
Fucking right. Hell yeah. Well, you have a great fucking rest of your day, and yeah, keep in touch. We'll get something planned for next time we do a show.
absolutely, brother. You
Cool. All
have a
right.
great day.
Cool. All right. Later. All right. That's CJ playing. Check him out. I kept thinking, I'm like, because at the beginning of the show, as you just saw, or no, I guess I'll probably this the end of the show before I'm doing the other part. So, as you saw, like I'll have to put on something at the beginning, some part like where they say something that I like, and I want to put at the beginning. So said a whole bunch at the end, so I can just go to the end and find something there because there was a whole bunch of nuggets. So nuggets of wisdom, yo. So thank you everyone for being here on the Rusty Diamond Podcast Network. Check me out, rustydiamond.net, hypnosisisgreat.com, popuphealing.net, or facebook.com/popuphealing. And just, yeah, thanks for everyone. Do what he says. He's a smart dude. So, yeah, check out the show anywhere you listen to podcasts or on Rumble or YouTube. Just search the Public Access Podcast. And that is the show. Man. Boom!
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.